Thank you very much, Stefan. My name is Josh Pisana. I'm a senior defense and space reporter at Politico. I was running a lot of coverage on mobility stuff till very recently. So as the saying goes, this is me called back for one last mission on mobility topics, but it's something I've been working on for years. And as we've just heard, EVs have been a major topic, as is aviation at the moment, as is railways too. A quick reminder before we get started with our conversation through the first session of the mobility part of the Sustainable Future Week, that you can tune in and join the debate with hashtag Politico Sustainable Week on the X social media platform, of course, and also Swapcard, which we use oftentimes for questions. At least for our first interview, which I'll present in a second, I'll see if anybody either online or here in the room has questions. So thanks again to the surely millions tuning in online and the thousands of you here in the room. Our first interview that we have for you right now is with Belgium's Deputy Prime Minister and Mobility and Transport Minister, Georges Julkene. Please welcome him. Hi.
Hi.
Thanks a lot for coming.
It was a pleasure. It's not so far.
Yeah, exactly. I can imagine the convenience of a Belgian politician, right?
Yeah, indeed. My cabinet is
it's just around the corner.
300 meters from here. Then.
So we agreed in advance that we were going to go through aviation, road and rail in a certain order. We were going to close with the good news. I think there's a lot of bad news at the moment, a lot of problems that you have to deal with. So let's start with aviation. There was a protest at the weekend in which I think about 600 people were looking to block the expansion of Brussels Airport. You have the situation at Schiphol with the flight cap. Yeah. What is your response to that, and how do you work this out as a national minister before we start talking about EU policies in a minute?
How many minutes do I have? Because it's always very complicated in Belgium. I'm very pleased to be there. We are preparing the next presidency of the Council. I will have the honor to chair the Transport Council, but I'm indeed Deputy Prime Minister in charge of mobility and in charge of aviation here in Belgium. And we have a marvelous national airport here in Zaventem, but near to the city, and there are a lot of people suffering for the noise of aviation from the planes at night, and it's a bit of a difficulty. And we see other countries. You gave the example of Schiphol in the Netherlands, but I can also speak about Frankfurt, and without any flight during the night. And I try to find a good balance between economic activities, between connectivity for a European capital like Brussels, and the right of people to rest, to have a sleep. We had an evaluation about the consequences of the noise of the airport for the health of people, and it cost every year €1 billion to us, and then we have to find a better balance between economic activity and the right to sleep. I made a proposal, perhaps a bit provocative, but to have silent night here in Brussels, like in other airport, other city airport like Brussels. It's not so evident. We are speaking with the air companies, also with the industry. We are very active here in Belgium on different levels. We have industry which need the airport, but I think we can have a good activity during the day and not only at night. And you have to put it in the reflection we have about sustainability. Like other actors as aviation, to go to zero CO2 emission till 2050, but you don't have to wait 2049 to begin to act in that direction.
But what is your proposal? Do you think that it's going to be a case that you ban flights at night? What will be the situation at Brussels-Zaventem?
I want to work on the QC, the cut accounts of the airplanes coming and starting from Brussels, to put lower QC especially at difficult times for people, early in the morning, late in the evening, and to go to less or no activity during the night. It's not so evident because there is an impact, socioeconomic impact that we have to take into account. And it's not so easy, but I want to make the life of people living here in Brussels, but also around Brussels, better. Not an easy debate. It's why we begin with aviation. We would end with train, which is a very important subject. Yes, and I propose, like other colleagues in our council, to ban short, old flights. There are thousands of flights between Belgium. Belgium is behind Belgium is a very little country.
Yeah.
We have every year too many flights between different Belgian airports, and I think it's not a good idea. We have a very efficient railway system here in Belgium. There are alternatives to flying, to planes, and we are working on it. I think aviation is to give the good example.
And managing your own hub, your own local hub airport, I guess, is going to be a decision for local governments and local authorities to master. But these questions about A, short-haul flight ban, as we've seen in France, B, price caps on flights, and C, regulating private jets, are decisions that can be taken by national ministers and by the council. Are you in favour of any of those three things, and what will you do as the leader of the Transport Council to make those realities?
We will put the question of the agenda: how can aviation work on climate? We took already some decision here in Belgium for this. I think we are the first country in Europe to do so. We have varying variable fees for air companies in function of the noise and the distance at the moment in the day. Or the most you are efficient on climate, on energy, because noise is also CO2 emission, the less you pay. The more you come with noisy plane, the more you have to pay. We want to help companies to modernize, to be able to tackle the goals of sustainability of CO2 emission. And yes, it's a debate we have in the Transport Council. We have to put rules, to put limits to aviation. We have to help aviation companies to be greener, if you can be green as a aviation company. There are already today more efficient planes in the market, and we have to help companies to go to greener aviation.
But excuse the wordplay, but you get to steer the debate with all of your colleagues through the first half of next year. And I wonder, would you like to see what some of them have already said that they would like to see? And that's no more of these €10 tickets that I can fly home to Berlin for €9.99. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, right?
Yes, there are. We will talk about climate, about social, because in the aviation, you have a lot of concurrence with workers who are bad paid, and also about economy. Then we will put on the agenda, we will organize an event with those three questions. How we can be, as an economic actor, in the aviation, more efficient on climate, with more efficient planes, if it's possible, with sustainable aviation fuels. Two, how we can work on social condition. You see the same situation in the transport sector, trucks with bad paid workers, with unfair concurrence between companies. Then you have to have a social level playing field that you have to make bigger. And third question, economic efficiency. what can we do against concurrence of foreign, not European countries who, with companies who are subsidized by their authorities, which is not the case here in Europe.
Yeah.
And it will be a very interesting debate. But I want to put the question of alternative also on the agenda. Night trains, long distance trains behind Europe, they are alternative to short and to flight for 1,000 kilometers, I think.
But it's because we'll come to night trains in 10 minutes or so, but it's fair then to take from what you say that you're against bans, that you don't want to think right now, you don't think it's the time to think right now about a price cap on the cost of flights.
Yes, I think so. I think so. It's a debate which was opened by my French colleague, Clément Beaune. I think it's a very good idea. I have a proposal here in Belgium to ban intern flights. And I think, yes, we have to help to push the aviation sector so that it can be more in align with our goals on climate. It's for my generation of political responsible. It's the most important thing we have to do.
Yeah.
We have to save our planet, to save our climate. It's the reason why we are there, and it has to be compatible to economic activity. But I think there are a lot of things to do, and there is an evolution in the aviation. We have to help the most advanced companies to go ahead, and the others to follow this.
And so let's move on to road now, because that's, I think, an equally difficult conversation for very different reasons. Belgium clearly is a big commuting country, right? A lot of people drive even from Liège to Brussels, from Ostend to Ghent, and that's become a major facet of the Belgian economy. It's also heavily subsidized in terms of company car, tax breaks, etc. So we have clear guidance now about what needs to happen because of the climate targets. The EU has set the 2035 target for zero emission vehicles only. What can you do on a national level to change culturally Belgium towards not relying on personal transport so much?
Yes, we have to shift and to propose alternative to people in their cars. Every year, the traffic jam in Belgium costs us 4 billion. It's people who are paid to be not moving on the street because they are in a jam or they are a jam, and it's we are one of the most complicated country in Europe. We have a little country with a lot of people coming every day morning in Brussels, which is capital of Belgium and capital of Europe, and we have to find alternative. The train is an alternative. We come back to train. Active mobility is also a solution, multimodality. And I think we have to make mobility a freedom without a car. We always talk about my car is my freedom. No, I don't think the car tomorrow is a freedom. I have to make people free with a train, with active mobility, with multimodality, and we are working on it. We ask the Commission to work more on bike, on cycling. Perhaps you can say cycling is not so important. There are more and more people cycling. People who are cycling are more happy, they are more healthy, and it's a solution for short distance. And they leave the place for people who need a car to move because they are too old, because they have.
Of course, but with all the will in the world, it would take a lot of spare time to cycle every day from Antwerp to Brussels.
Yeah, indeed.
And back again.
Yeah.
So in terms of the offer that the state can make to people to make them drop their cars, are you intrigued by the prospect, for example, at Luxembourg and Estonia, of free public transport, free railway tickets?
It's free for commuters because we have a system here in Belgium, and it's paid by their employers. But yes, I see the situation in Luxembourg. I talk a lot with my colleague François Bosch. Yes, it's free in a little country with. And it's more easy for them. We need what people pay for the train to make trains right. It's a balance we have to find. I want to make trains free for young people till 76. No, 26, sorry. 26. Young people, 76, yeah, why not? To 26, then because it's the time in your life, then you make your main choice, where you will live, how you will move in the future. It's also a time you need some public help to install you in your life. And I think we have to make choice for the people you want to help to take the train, also for people more than 76, then for all the people so that they can move with the train more freely, but it has also to be more accessible. And we have, as authority, the responsibility to make the train, active mobility, deep mobility, multimodality, more accessible to people so that they can make the choice. I live without a car as a property. If I need a car, I can use a car, and I pay for using a car, but not to have the propriety of the car. And it's a huge difference. It's also cheaper for people, and it makes them free to use a car when they need a car, not to be linked with a car.
And so to also talk briefly about logistics, the EU is also looking at the CO2 reduction from trucks. Belgium is, of course, a major port country, as well as Zeebrugge and Antwerp. So I wonder, are you personally in support of the 90% targets for reducing truck CO2 standards? And what could you have to say about what your priorities will be during the Council?
Yes, I'm fully in support. We need to reduce our CO2 emission. First of all, we want to have more goods on train. The goods coming in Port of Antwerp has to be put on train to travel all around Europe, not on trucks. And we have, like Europe, a goal. It's to double the volume of goods transported by train. We are working on it with a reduction of the costs for the past for the train companies, with investment in our infrastructure, and with talking with the industry. We have here in Brussels Audi constructing cars, e-cars. They need the train to receive their raw materials and to export their e-cars all around Europe. Then we decided to invest so that they can stay here in Brussels. And it's a lot of employment, very important for a city like Brussels with 1 million inhabitants. And we try to help them take the train. There are other subjects. We have to re-industrialize Europe. We are too dependent of Asia and so on. And yes, there are trucks company working on hydrogen, electricity, e-trucks, and so on. I think it's a part of the future, but it's not the only solution. You have to lower the volume of goods transport. You have to put more goods on train, and then try to improve the mobility.
So I noticed a trend in the first 20 minutes of our conversation that every question has at some point led back to trains.
Yeah.
So let's just start talking about trains.
How
about that? Super. So the first question I have for you on this is Belgium has said that it wants to make itself a European hub for night trains. Yeah. I think you have talked yourself about when you used to take a night train from Brussels to Milan. Was it direct? Yeah, that doesn't exist anymore, right?
No, it's a pity, but yes. When I was younger, when I was a young worker in Brussels, I always took the Brussels-Milano. but I stopped in Belgium, but it was very efficient.
Was the late night train home?
No, I stopped in Namur. It was only 1 hour, but if I stayed in the train, it was to Milano. It's a pity that one time we decided to stop such an initiative, and night trains are coming back, and we want to help them. We are our colleagues of Austria. Leonor is Minister of Transport, if you know her, and she with OBB, the Austrian company, they put back a lot of night train to Paris, to Brussels, to Roma, again on the tracks, and it's very. It's a huge success. If you want to have a ticket to go to Vienna from Brussels, you have to command it 3 months or 4 months before starting. There is a lot of demand. We have no night train to Vienna, night train to Berlin with a little Dutch cooperative, and there are other projects. We are the first country supporting night train companies. They are free of charge in Belgium, of energy charge, of paste charge. It's an initiative we took. I was very happy to have this law voted in our parliament. And there is a huge possibility for the future. There are a lot of demand of people, but we need some time to have the good wagons and so on.
This is a problem. I have taken these night trains, for example, to Berlin, and while it's very comfortable, it's quite old, right?
Yes, indeed. It's the same train I took as a children to go skiing to Switzerland.
Yeah.
Yes, we have a lack of modern material, rolling material, and those companies are looking now to have new other trains. It's the concept that they want to develop, and there is a demand of people for such comfort we can give with those trains. It's an economic activity, but it shows that mobility is also possible without a plane, with alternative to plane.
Do you think the EU should finance and give money to build fresh, shiny new night train carriages?
I think Europe has to do more on night trains and on trains infrastructure. And Europe has to allow countries to help train companies, like we do in Belgium. It was a difficult discussion with the Commission.
This is state aid and allowing public cash.
Yes, it's a form of state aid. We can give it for 3 years and then come back to the Commission. I think it has to be structural. But we have also to help those little companies to develop and to invest, also in the name of strike against climate change, and because there are a lot of Europeans wanting to travel in a different way, and I think it's something that Europe can help. There are market rules about concurrence, state aid. It's always difficult. And I always ask the Commission, when I'm in Transport Council, to give more measures to develop our train infrastructure for goods, for people, for passengers, and so on, because it's a way we have to tackle the climate change.
And would you like to see, is your intention next year when you have the council, is the intention to get a joint statement, get some kind of signal of support from your colleagues?
Indeed. I think there are a lot of colleagues in the European Council for Transport very interested in those ideas. I have to encourage the Commission to be at the same level. You know, it's the last six months of the Commission, then comes a new Commission. I want to have a declaration of Brussels. We will host here in Belgium, not far away, a European Council, and it will be the 3rd and 4th of April. And I want to have a declaration of Brussels and with an ambitious and green agenda on mobility to give some tips, some demand to the Commission so that we can have a second Green Deal, making also mobility a priority. 30% of our CO2 emissions are linked to mobility. Then we have to find a solution for a shift to improve our mobility in Europe.
So April 3rd, April 4th next year, the Declaration of Brussels. This will include support for night trains, among many, many other things.
Invest on infrastructure, a real vision of Europe, and it's moving about cycling, perhaps more works against social dumping in the transport. We talked about aviation, trucks, but it's for us a priority to have a social level playing field. We have a lot of things on the agenda, and we want the Commission to be more active on these topics. There are a lot of things to do.
And you have the unique position, I think, of having that presidency right at the end of the current EU mandate, right before the elections. Is this a good thing because you can tell the guys what to do next, or is it a bad thing because everybody's attention is on the elections?
I'm always optimistic. Then I will say it's a good thing, but it won't make the things easy because the European Parliament will be also in campaign, like in Belgium. It will be 6 very tough months, but I think we can achieve a lot of legislation during our presidency and to put things on the agenda. I think it's an opportunity to have an influence on Europe, on the future of Europe. Europe is very important for everyone here, but for me as a minister, and for Belgium, then we want to have a very productive presidency, indeed. And yes, I think it's more an opportunity. It won't be easy, but it's an opportunity to hand mandatory and to give some direction to the next one.
And just very quickly on your 3 priorities for your presidency next year, what would you like to see achieved? 3 things.
Yes, better railway connection between countries in Europe for night train, but also for goods. You have to make it more easy. Second one is to develop active mobility. I always say in my government that every minister is responsible to help cycling develop. It's the case of our Minister of Internal Affairs with more policemen and women on bike. It's a responsibility for me as Minister of Mobility, more parkings for bikes in station, more place in wagons for bike and so on. We have to give some subsidies to commuters going to work with the bike. We did so. And the third one is about road safety. We have to improve road safety. You can improve more road safety with more people on trains, more people on bike, but we have also a lot of other things to do to find a better balance between people in their cars, people trucks, and people on the bike. We need also lighter and safer car. It's a huge problem. We didn't speak about it, but electrification of the car has a rebound effect with bigger and bigger cars, which are not more safer for the other people. And I think it's a bit of a problem, and they are very expensive also for people. Then we have to find more deal cars, lighter cars, and alternative to cars, train and bike.
That's a lot of things to get going in just a few months. And so your time from now, a very final question, your time from now to Christmas is obviously all about preparing the ground for the council. Then you've got the preparations or the meetings of the council, and then an election both at home and at a European level. Have you booked your holiday already for after the elections next year? As a break, and where are you going if so?
I don't know. I like Tuscany, but no, I have a lot to do. Presidency election in Belgium. We have to have some things voted here in Belgium till the end of our mandatory. Then it will be for later, those questions.
Ostend is very nice in the summer as well.
Yes, indeed. And Belgium is a marvelous country to come. Welcome here, and I hope you enjoy our nice country.
Thank you very much, Giorgio Canet.
It was a pleasure.
Take care. All the best.